Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is September 27th, 2020. Howard, how was your summer in San Diego?
It was good. Just went for a bike ride and driving to Phoenix today to see the fam. Got Jewish Yom Kippur tomorrow. Tonight, maybe tomorrow.
Does that mean that we should be buying stocks?
It changes every year, the holiday. Right now, seasonally, I think we're worse. If you look through history, end of September's, the seasonality gets a little better.
Okay, so undecided.
Yeah, let's have you go through the market, see where we're at.
All right. Share my screen real quick. Go back to MarketSmith. So last week, the two major, the most followed indices, the QQQ and the S&P 500, they bounced exactly where they had to, because I cannot show this on MarketSmith, but that level here, 260 for the Qs, and I think it was 320 for the SPYs, exactly coincided with the so-called volume-weighted average price since that big gap in May.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a kind of important level to hold, because if it didn't hold, there was a pretty good probability that we can see another 5-6% move lower. So on Friday, we definitely saw that a lot of buying. Mm-hmm. And last week, we also talked about two major themes currently standing out in the market. One is clean energy.
Yeah.
Continue to act very resilient and just break out, and not only US-based ones, but also Chinese, European, like solar in general, clean energy.
Wow,
it's a really strong trend all over the world, and it's not just politically related, because we see that all over the world. It's just a strong trend that might last for a while, no matter what. You hear how California says that by 2035, all cars here have to be plug-in. Airbus is saying that by 2035, they'll have an airplane that will be zero emission. So the world is kind of going in that direction, no matter who wins the elections here.
I think we're starting to see that. There'll be a pullback if Trump wins, but I don't think he can do anything. If you look at coal and oil, it's the opposite no matter what he does. Remember, he was talking about, we're going to bring oil prices back. But if you look at Exxon, I think it had its worst 30 days in history. So
yeah, it doesn't look pretty.
That's in history. So it's gone straight down around 25% this month. I think the most down days, in 30 days. Anyways, I don't know where I read it, but so it's the opposite of solar too. This isn't just about, they continue to sell oil. And if you look at TAN, the ETF for solar, which is really what I said the way to play. I tried First Solar, it didn't work. Picking individual solar stocks when they're not truly growth stocks is more just continued tough to pick if you don't know the industry. The one that looks really interesting, I was going to look at one stock, JKS.
Yeah, the Chinese
company. Is it Chinese?
Yeah, big short squeeze. I think it's Chinese, yeah.
Okay, Chinese manufacturer. Take a look at the monthly there. Yeah, I'm not going to touch it, but I'm just giving some ideas here. That is a serious move. Now, historically, that's been the top, like going back to 2010, this price, but above 40 on a monthly close, or above these prices on a monthly close. People just want exposure to solar.
Definitely major.
The leader is SEDG, which we've talked about, Solar Edge, which just continues to power. It's basing here So again, there's just rotation. And there continues. It's not a everyone wins S&P game, because if you look at energy and you look at banks, they continue to just have money come out of them. They continue to relatively underperform. You can't own those. You need to see some strength. Another thing that was interesting is equal weight retail, XRT. One minute you think it's all Amazon. No, I'm not saying it isn't, but if we go to the monthly on retail, it's kind of an orderly pullback here. But I don't know how you don't, on strength, own some retailers. What do you think, Ivan?
The market in general, if you look at it on a monthly, it looks great. Any of the indices. So, it's not really a theme that really stands out to me.
No,
retail.
Correct.
But the other theme that, because I mentioned two major themes, first one was clean energy. The second one is extremely strong, is social distancing, which involves software. It also involves some special work from home, entertain from home place, Peloton and online retailers in general, all those diagnostics, research facilities, but mostly software. Last week we saw incredible strength in software, and especially on Friday, so many of those software stocks just started to break out, and you can see that here the IGV, the tech software ETF, it's already back above its 50-20 day, and it's looking better than the indices. And if you
go to a weekly on that, Ivan, it's really just digested a couple, 3 hot years of gains. It's like we're really still breaking out above March 2020 prices here, just before the crash. So it's really just, you take out those 2 months in the March and April, and it just continues to be an orderly. And I'm seeing it in the private markets too. A lot of our companies that were hurt, travel, yield management, Airbnb, have bounced. I have a couple portfolios in the yield management space that have bounced right back. And I think if you look at Square and PayPal, Ivan, you see, I talked to Jeff Richards. I'll put the interview up soon, but he just talked about it's really interesting. He talked about a complete reboot of the American economy, meaning all the stores closed, tragic, not going to end very soon, a lot more pain coming. But if you're going to spin up a restaurant or a coffee shop in 2020 and beyond, it's going to be built on top of Grubhub, Square, PayPal, from the ground up. You're going to think about your restaurant about not tables and seats, but how do you deliver to people? So that's just going to be a part of any new restaurant or service business. So you can see how those are, I'm not saying they're all great stocks, but the fintech version of these are just really getting going. And you can see Square, right? Probably been the strongest, fintech stock with PayPal. And I've missed this, but really, if you think about it the way Jeff Richards thinks, is every single American company is going to be rebuilt on these things. It could be Toast, it could be one of the other ones that are private, but so that's one thing. The other one, you called it social distancing, I call it fashology. If we go through my fashology stocks, they're just ripping. Nike ripping, Restoration Hardware ripping, stocks that you just could not have foreseen, rallying. Peloton is part of that one as well. So it's hard to see these trends ending. One thing I've noticed, Ivan, this weekend, I watched a couple shows on Apple TV. Okay. And, just when you think it's a joke that they're getting into content, they had 2 great shows. This soccer coach show, Ted something, and Tehran. As good as any show on Netflix, maybe not HBO. So, they have truly evolved into a media subscription-based company with the upgrade cycle of interesting heart. I mean, they're just executing on all.
Is this Apple Watch on your hand or something else?
No, my son took it from me. So, but more importantly, he did take it. The other thing that's interesting, Ivan, is the social stocks. You know, Twitter, Pinterest, Snapchat.
We talked about it last week, if you remember, yeah.
The government is serious about. Yeah, I mean, Twitter looks fantastic. As bad as the company may be operated, Snapchat looks fantastic, right? They're not sexy.
So it's Pinterest.
Yeah, Pinterest looks the best. I think because they have the most loyal, addicted audience, and no one talks about this. So it's probably a stock that I add here to my, maybe even to my 8 to 80 index. If we take a look at the monthly Ivan on this one, quietly, no one talks about it. But my daughter came to me this weekend. The stock was at 11, I think, in March, and I asked her. I said, "What? Should we buy Snap at 8? Should we buy Pinterest?" And she wasn't scared. She was just like, "Nah, I don't think she was being honest with me." And my son, who doesn't care, they just said, "Nah." And so I'm not going to buy a stock if I don't use it and the kids don't use it. And then this Friday, she texted me. She said, "All my friends are pinning me and sending me pin boards and blah, blah, blah." And I'm going to get a demo from her this week, but I don't think you can't not. Forgetting valuation for the moment, everything is overvalued. In terms of the perfect setup from a monthly breakout, Pinterest just looks fantastic. And the numbers it's hard to justify the numbers if they're going to make 20 cents next year, but it's a rare asset. And, if the 20-year-olds are using it, that's 50, 60 years of use case, going forward.
Yeah.
And that one's interesting. Zynga also, there's a big acquisition in private gaming, Scopely, not big, another big raise at a $3 billion valuation. And I think there's another old, boring, under $10 stock that, trading at 20 times next year's earnings for a gaming company. I don't know if it, and, been doing a little work on that, and it's the social gaming. Hang on. I can't stop. Okay. So social gaming looks pretty interesting there. Bounced off its 200-day, I think there, Ivan.
Yeah. I mean, it still has some work to do. It's working on base. I mean, it's really hard to talk about valuations at this point when you have, in Europe, for example, many of the deposits have gone to negative interest rates. So
yes,
you're losing money if you keep your money in the bank.
Germany is negative half a point for
when
people.
You have that, it's not only Germany, it's all over European Union. So when you have that situation, and I mean, people have to put their capital to work, and there's still a lot of liquidity out there with all those government stimulus, monetary, and not only all around the world. There's a lot of money in the system. That money has to go somewhere, and that somewhere historically has been stocks and real estate in certain locations. As bullish,
it's not going into the old world. If you look at Hilton or SPG or Boeing, maybe it'll rotate finally into these. I mean, Florida just completely opened, so that's interesting on Friday. But if SPG, which is retail, it just looks like it may go to zero. So it's really, it's not everything. This is kind of a stock picker's market in the NASDAQ over the S&P still. So.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I highlighted two themes: clean energy and
clean energy. Good call. Good call.
And under software, when I was looking through my screens, there are probably at least 20, if not 30, software stocks that are looking constructively, and they're either breaking out or just setting up, and they're looking a lot better than the market in general. So since we said that leaders tend to lead the averages, I would not be surprised if we see some.
Yeah, Zscaler looks good, Ivan.
Type of breakout before. And don't get me wrong, the averages are still stuck in a range. They're all below their 50, 20-day. But looking at the positive bullish price action in so many software stocks and clean energy, they might be the ones to lead. But also consider the elections coming up in 40 days.
Yeah. And then the biotechs just put in another just
we might see some more volatility in the indices.
flattish week. There's just some winners. It's kind of like pick your winner, but it's holding in there. All right. I think I'm out of ideas, but hopefully we shared. I think we shared some good coverage.
Yeah.
Last week you were seeing some short setups. This week I haven't seen you mention one.
Friday was a kind of game changer, as you said. I saw so much strength in software, in social distancing, in clean energy that, I mean, I'm kind of bullish. I'm leaning bullish.
Yeah, well, that's important. Okay. Have a great week. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Yeah.